Charlotte Flair has responded to claims of her being difficult. There have been more changes to the Survivor Series card, and we have an injury update on a top AEW star. More of that to come later on. Yes, first of all, Andrew, Charlotte Flair has been responding to those claims of her being difficult to work with after the whole fallout with Becky Lynch.
Yes.
Fueled then by comments that Becky Lynch made in interviews as well.
Yep.
Now Charlotte has responded, speaking to BT Sport. She said, no one looks at a man and goes, why does he want to be the world champion again when he's been on top all these years? It's because I'm a woman and I've done it all, and we still have a smaller division. Charlotte is difficult because I stand up for what I believe in. That makes me difficult. If I was a man, I'd have big balls. I know how good I am. Man or woman, I am the best. I think you can look at this two ways, Andy.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I think on one hand, I think she's correct. I think that, you know, there's been people in the past who've protected their spot.
Yeah.
All the way like Hulk Hogan and even further back. People like Steve Austin, people like Shawn Michaels, definitely, people like Triple H. Huge figures in the industry's history who've, you know, become some of the biggest names.
Yeah.
And you know, I can totally see that from one side. But on the other side of things, I think she might be a little bit wrong saying no one looks at a man and says, why does he still want to be the champion when he's been the champion? Because, like John Cena.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody got really annoyed when Cena was on top all the time.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I don't know what to think of this, really. I think I partly agree with it, maybe.
Yeah, I think I'm firmly in your camp there. Like, you can see it one or two ways. Also, I guess, I mean, obviously, you can tell there's frustrations here from what she's saying. And, like, at the same time, I also, I don't want to say she sounds pretentious, because she is one of the best, but there's also like a little bit of grit, aggressiveness, I think, in there too.
I think she's partly in character.
Yeah.
I'm saying this when she says man or woman, I am the best. I think she is partly. It's partly in the old kayfabe.
Okay.
So, but I get what you mean. I get what you mean. And also, you could say largely these days, it's generally just a more cooperative era backstage. Yeah. We hear about how they play video games rather than. Be nasty to each other.
And snort lines of cocaine.
You can't be doing that. But we're not saying that Charlotte stabs or does. We're not saying that she does any of those things.
No.
But I'm kind of in the middle here.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely part of what you say makes sense.
Just out of all of this, this is making for a really interesting match at Survivor Series, if anything, you know. And I'm very, 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 very excited to see what happens. We've spoken about this before as well. Is there going to be some real life shooty shoots, or is it going to be some worked shoots, brah? You know?
I think that it's gone from being just another Charlotte Flair Becky Lynch match, which we've seen quite a lot of, to now one of the more anticipated matches on the Survivor Series card.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the Survivor Series card, there have been more changes. So last week we saw Dominic Mysterio removed from the Raw Men's Survivor Series team and replaced with Bobby Lashley, because Adam Pearce said he wanted all former champions. He gave Dom a match against Lashley to prove himself, and obviously Lashley won that match. Now Rey Mysterio has been removed from the Raw Men's team for Survivor Series as well, with Austin Theory named as his replacement. Now this one makes less sense if you're following Adam Pearce's methodology, because Rey Mysterio is a former world champion. Austin Theory isn't, unless we're counting the Evolve Championship. Now this announcement was made after Rey lost to Lashley in the main event of Raw. What does this mean? Is Adam Pearce turning heel-o?
Is Adam Pearce turning heel? I also feel like Sonya Deville is turning heel at the same time. With all the stuff with Naomi as well. Do we need two heel general manager people? I
always looked at it, wow, someone is clomping around upstairs. I always looked at it as like they were both kind of neutral, but then Pearce was leaning face and Sonya was leaning heel. But now they're both leaning heel. And
it's a strange one. I'm also kind of intrigued because the Raw Survivor Series team at the moment pretty much predominantly heels, apart from Finn Balor now. With the replacement of Rey Mysterio.
And now Owens has turned heel,
and now we've got one spot left on the SmackDown team, and the SmackDown team is predominantly baby faces, apart from Baron Corbin, sorry. Now, so it's going to be interesting to see. I wonder if something on SmackDown is going to happen where someone gets someone replaces Baron or something as well, and then it is just like a face versus heel dynamic. Who knows? I'm not really sure. But
there is a spot left on the team after Sami Zayn was removed on Friday last week, and on the women's team, Aaliyah was removed from the women's team. So I don't know. I feel as though there's going to be a lot of infighting in both matches, possibly. I think definitely within the at least the Raw one at the moment with
obviously Balor and Owens having a match this week. It's Survivor Series, Jack, and there's always infighting.
Yeah,
always infighting.
Yeah, apart from that one match, which was really funny, when the Raw men's team were bickering all the way up to it, and then just dominating. I found that really good. I like that as a little twist, but yeah. We'll have to wait and see.
We will.
It's an interesting one.
Not far off now.
Moving over now to AEW related news, and we don't know the reason for. Well, I don't know the reason for this. I don't know if you've heard anything different.
No.
But Cody Rhodes has deleted his Twitter account completely, which has removed one of my biggest followers. So that's selfish of him, isn't it? Really? But yeah, I wonder what that's about.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either whether it's like kayfabe part of the story with everybody kind of booing him and everything and being very much against him at the moment. I don't know if perhaps he's had lots of abuse from silly fans. Who knows? Like, I'm genuinely really not sure. But as Tom's put there, he'll reactivate it just in time to save the day, no doubt. So we'll see what happens with Cody there. What do you make of this? What do you think?
Well, part of me thinks yes, it might be in character, because he's getting booed a lot, and there could be a clever little addition to the story. Part of me thinks, maybe he just doesn't want to have Twitter anymore for whatever reason, and who can blame him for that? But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one as well. Do you think now? I'm pretty set on the fact that they are deliberately leaning into it now. The Cody boos, they've got to be.
I think they've got to be. But then I personally think he's being more of a heel by not turning heel now at this point.
Great.
And it's kind of it's like meta almost. It's very meta.
Do you see the amount of pyro he had at Full Gear for like arguably the least important match on the main portion of the show? He comes out for this tag match. It's like
the crowd was going so mild when he got tagged into the match as well. It was like,
he got a hot tag and got booed for it.
He did. But like, I enjoy Cody, and I think Cody is fantastic. But I guess there does come a point in wrestlers' careers when it's time to shake things up a little, I guess, as well. But I mean, do you know what? I'm intrigued to see where it goes, because I think it will definitely play into a story somewhere.
Yes. Tell you who I do want to turn heel as well at AEW. Bloody CM Punk.
Oh, me too.
Yes.
We were seeing shades of it. We were seeing little tiny shades of it
tinker.
At Full Gear. Yeah, he was.
He's such a tinker.
Teasy.
He's teasing us. I think that I'd really like the part at the end when he did the handshake and then Eddie Kingston walked off. Usually that would be a heel thing for the person refusing the handshake to do. But I don't know if it's just the way I looked at it, but I didn't see it as like the bigger star saying I respect you. I looked at it more as Punk being. It was so smug and so CM Punk about it.
Yes, I agree. I really want to see him. I really want to see him turn heel as well.
Maybe not quite yet.
Let's keep it going. Maybe we keep him doing the smug stuff, and then we finally gradually get there.
Potentially. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Crown Jewel. Don't panic, it's already been and gone. But Riddle was talking to Metro about the camel entrance, because he obviously rode on a camel while Randy Orton sauntered behind.
He did.
He said, I really enjoy the second part of this, but he said adieu as well.
Yes.
He said, I have no idea who pitched it. All I know is that the morning of the show, 7 a.m, I was jet lagged, didn't get any sleep that night, and I was still awake, and I get a call, and they're like, we need you at the show early to rehearse and stuff. And I'm like, rehearse what? They go, rehearse riding a camel. And I was like, a real camel? And they're like, yeah. Then he said, the camel was a good time. I highly recommend. You know who wasn't happy about it, though, because they didn't get to ride a camel? Randy. Randy wanted to ride a camel, and Vince wouldn't let him. He goes, Randy, that's not your character riding a camel. He's like, what does that mean, man? My character doesn't ride a camel? And I'm like, Randy, I'm sorry, bro. Sometimes, and this is a motto we can all live our lives by, sometimes you're just not the dude that rides camels. Would you have wanted to ride the camel?
I would have wanted to ride the camel.
I wouldn't have wanted to ride
the camel. Would you not have wanted to ride the camel? I would have wanted to ride the camel outside of the arena setting.
Okay.
Because I don't want
just
the
as an
camels
experience.
I don't want the camels getting all the pyro going off and stuff and everything. I would like to ride a camel. But
I don't think I would like to ride a camel.
Why?
Well, I've never ridden a horse even. So
I've ridden a horse before.
I'm scared of that sort of thing.
That was an experience.
Was it?
Yeah, I fell off.
Did you?
Yeah, and I was only young as well, so it was a big drop. I must have been like 8, 9. Yeah, death-defying.
Did you get injured?
No, I was fine.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm made of rubber meat.
Oh, that's really scary though. That's terrifying.
Randy Orton though has been we've seen in little fan clips and stuff from Raw and everything in these house shows that he's been getting on Riddle's scooter. He wants to get in on all this, you know?
I think Vince is wrong, and I think Orton would ride a camel.
I do too. I think Orton's now at that point of his career where he is being a little bit daft.
He is.
You know, he's just enjoying himself at this point, isn't he? And I'd have liked to see him on a camel.
I think he would ride a camel looking unimpressed about it, and it would have worked.
But secretly inside, he's like,
ride a camel. Having to resist the temptation to just flip over the front and RKO the camel. We don't endorse cruelty to camels.
Please don't do that.
No, please don't do that. And finally, we do have an update on an injured AEW star. Now, I missed the first part of this story, so this is Eddie Kingston we're talking about. Was he actually injured? The reports came out.
Apparently, yeah. So I think it might have been yesterday. Something came out about him after the match. Something was up. We didn't know necessarily what was up, I think, with him. So, we got a little bit of an update now. Eddie Kingston tweeting out, shoulders are fine. We'll be wrestling at NEW Wrestling 1 on the 20th and we'll miss no time at work.
Well, fair enough then.
So
that's
there
really
you go.
Good news.
That's because, do you know what? Despite what CM Punk says, he's a hard-working boy. He gets back up. Injury, he's fine. He just gets up, flips his fingers off at people and then gets back to work again.
That's really good news for Eddie Kingston. I want to hear news about Dax Harwood, actually, because you might have noticed after the Cody and Pac win, the tag match...
Only Cash came out.
Only Cash came out, and I thought that seemed like maybe Dax was being like checked up on backstage or something. I didn't notice anything in the match with the Lucha Bros that, signified an injury, but I was just thinking like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah, I hope he's all right as well. I want to see the Lucha Bros and FTR continue too, because that was a really good match.
It was a really good match. No, it was. I just thought it should have ended a little bit earlier. I didn't the mask stuff. I didn't quite buy it. I thought there was too much in it. I know what you mean.
I mean, they will continue it because he wasn't the legal man when he got pinned, was he?
They've got a reason now,
They do.
I still thought it was a great match, though, of course. What was your favourite match before we end from Full Gear?
My favourite match was MJF and Darby Allin.
Honestly,
I thought that was insane.
It was.
That was such a good opening match, and it had no right to be as good as it was.
Yeah.
I think.
All that for me, and a close second would be Punk and Eddie.
Yeah, that was just a brawl.
It was great.
It was perfect.
I was listening to the Observer Radio, and Meltzer, he hasn't released his star ratings yet, obviously, but he was saying that the main event was like an amazing match and definitely a match of the year contender. And I was thinking it as a moment and as the culmination of a storyline, it was amazing. But I don't know if it's just because it was late and we were tired here, but I preferred some of the earlier matches in the card as just a match like in a vacuum and just rest them.
I think I agree with you there. I think the thing, as you were saying, it was just because it was the culmination of a story, and like the match itself was so good because it had all its big move moments and stuff, but also just the little dabs of storytelling in there too, which just made it masterpiece.
Well, I realised that when the Bucks came out, I was like, oh, why have they made it all about themselves? This should have been Hangman's moment. But then it was pointed out online that it harkened back to them not coming out to ringside, and I thought, oh, now they have, nice. And they've acknowledged him like the tribal chief.
Oh, Hangman Page versus Roman Reigns at Survivor Series 2021.
Oh my word, can you imagine? Thank you very much for watching this video. We're not sure how much news is floating about, so we may or may not be back with more news later on, but if we are, you'll find it right here on this very channel. Thank you again for watching. Do leave your thoughts and opinions on any of these stories in that comment section down below. I've been Jack, this has been Andrew, and we'll see you very soon.